Hess, and I would like to call to order this public hearing. It's Monday, September 25th, 2017. It's 7:00 p.m. now. We're going to review and hear public comments on the special assessment rule and to hear and to consider any objections thereto. So if you would like to speak about the special assessment role, you're invited to come to the microphone at this time. Okay, there being no public comment, I now call this public hearing to a close. I need a motion to adjourn.
Also move.
Okay,
Support.
and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, now we're going to move on. I'd like to call to order the regular City Commission meeting for this evening, Monday, September 25th, 2017. And if everybody could please rise and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance together. This evening's invocation will be led by Pastor Dan. Pastor Dan, you all set? Thank you for coming this evening.
You're welcome. It's good to be here. Just a word here. St. Paul writes to the Philippians, and he tells them about the partnership that they have. And I thought about the partnership that we have here. There's a special partnership that has been developing through the summer, and that involved two youth, two teens, the mayor, myself, pastor at St. Paul Lutheran Church, and some other adults, and it has resulted in a teen hangout that is every Wednesday afternoon starting at 2:30 at St. Paul Lutheran Fellowship or Friendship Center. So it's been a good partnership. It's been a good thing with, I think, 14. I think we had about 16 this last week. Nice turnout and everything else. But it is a partnership working together, and that's what part of it being around the city commission is, and the city, and everything we do too, working together for a lot of things with BAMA, our ministerial association, and the city, and everybody else that works together, our schools and everything else. We pray. Lord God, we give you thanks for the goodness that you have shed on this community. We thank you for the commission here that meets. We thank you for those who work with our schools, those who work in our churches, those that work with our businesses, all working together to better this community. Lord, we pray that you'll bless this meeting and watch over and keep all the discussion. As I pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Dan. All right, and now we'll have a presentation from the American Legion. Okay, thank you. And can you make sure you introduce yourself, please? Thank you.
Actually, my name is Fran Terry. I'm not from the American Legion, but I did help with the fundraising. So we are here to present to the City of Buchanan to be divided between the Buchanan Police Department reserves and the Buchanan Fire Department. We did a fundraiser selling tacos at the Friday night, rained out, Thrill on the Hill. So we didn't make as much as we wanted to, but actually everybody involved would be Buchanan Senior Center donated some of the stuff to make it. Your own Pam from Dispatch helped make it. Rhonda Harrington from Edgewater Bank, myself from Country Heritage, and American Legion. We all went together and spent time cooking and serving. And actually, I probably would say the City of Buchanan employees, the police officers, and the firefighters probably bought most of those tacos that night.
Hey, we know good food.
So we raised $241 we would like to present.
Cool.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. That was great. Oh, great. My goodness.
So getting cash out.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming this evening. Okay, and thank you to the American Legion for all their hard work and all the things they do for our community. All right, we're up to item number 3, which is a roll call. Gladys?
Hess,
Here?
Moore. Here. Carney,
Here.
Bianski,
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
All right, hey, thank you. Moving on to item number 4, it's time for public comments. Citizens are allowed up to 3 minutes to discuss any agenda item. When you approach the microphone, could you please give us your name and your address? Thank you.
Where is our newspaper person?
Norma Ferris.
Hi, Norma.
Buchanan. Hi. Everything I have is on the consent calendar.
Okay.
E, explain the word introduce for the public. G, I, L, I don't see street name or street names on any of these. J and L, that's a conflict of dates. It's in the winter type area. You're playing with the weather and city men, their labor. K, who pays for this? And whose budget does it come out of? Is it a machine or is it paper? 8, A and C, I haven't read either one of these documents. Is it for 1 year and it comes up again? Or is it just a one-time thing? B, that's, is this one time for the chamber? Or is this going to be changed?
Okay, thanks.
That's all I have.
Okay, and then we're going to go over all this stuff, so if you still have questions, you can catch up with me after the meeting, okay? All right.
You don't usually for the consent
Okay.
calendar.
Yeah, okay, how do you want to handle that? Do we? Okay. When we get there, we can do them individually, Norma. All right, okay. Any other public comments? Thank you, Norma. Anyone else this evening? All right, and with that, we will close public comments. Now we're going to move on to the consent calendar. I'll just cover the ones, Gladys, if my fellow commissioners will allow. Can I just go over the ones she asked about for her knowledge, or would that be all right, or no?
You can answer her questions, sure.
Okay. All right. Item E, introduce ordinance 2017-10, and it says an ordinance amending the City of Buchanan ordinance. What that is we will be having in the future, I believe at our October 9th meeting, we will be introducing our zoning ordinance regarding medical marijuana. And you can come to that meeting, and we'll be taking public comment at that time. I believe she asked about the street closure on September 29th. We have a list of that, Norma. That's for the homecoming parade route that starts, I believe, out here at the Duck Pond, and it goes down Front Street and then over to the high school. Yes, okay.
That's what I'd like to know.
Okay.
I don't see Front Street. Are we just supposed to assume it?
Yeah, yes, and we can make those clear. And then the banner placement request for Fernwood, the annual holiday market, we have to have, people that want to hang banners have to come for approval. So we are approving Fernwood's banner. And then the approved policy 2017-09-001, the timestamp punch policy and timesheet recording verification policy. We are moving from a paper pencil time card to a one where you physically have to go and punch in. And the school is doing that as well. And I personally don't know what budget that's coming out of. Chief Marks, do you happen to know? Or would that be something I'd have to look up and get back with Norma on?
It'd be out of the DPW building funds that will buy theirs. Each building has their own capital fund line item that will be purchasing those punch clocks out of.
Okay. And then the last one, approve the street closure for November 25th. That is the holiday parade route. It will start at the Duck Pond as well, go down Front Street and take a left onto Oak, and it will end at the Buchanan Common. Okay? All right, and with that, I need a motion to approve the consent calendar,
So
please.
moved.
Okay, can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
I got a question.
Okay.
I don't know why I didn't think about this, but why are we going to a stamp rather than Kronos? Kronos is the computer.
We presently are using a computer clock, punch-in clock, and that's become troublesome in the ability of the computer to be up and available all the time. So, especially at DPW. So a more simplified manual, the old punch clock system is.
So we've been doing a punch. It's just a different type of punch.
Yeah,
Okay.
they punch now, but the software sometimes isn't as dependable as I would like to see. So we're going to a pretty simple method of clocking in and out. So, and actually the cost of these items are about $160 for a clock system. Pretty reasonable to solve a concern.
Is that just going to be DPW then, or are we going to have
DP
City Hall?
DBW, cemetery, DBW, cemetery, wastewater, and water.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Okay. Can I have a roll call, please? Gladys, thank you.
Did Commissioner Cole second that motion?
Oh, I think that Commissioner Attorney did.
Thanks. Moore? Yes. Bianski?
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Hess?
Yes.
Attorney?
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item number 6 were to reports by departments, committees, and boards. For letter A this evening, we'll be hearing from the McCoy Creek Trail Trek or Treat, and Wayne Ryder is here to speak about that. Welcome, Wayne.
Appreciate you folks listening to us.
Thank you.
I've got a couple other board members here, Jerry Flinner, Don Brooks, Jan Jacobs. I think I got everybody.
Thank you.
The trail's going to be a little bit busy the month of October. I'm going to not start with my trek or treat, but we have our 5K race coming up on the first Saturday of October. And I think it's our 4th? Yeah. One, and we've been running around 100 participants, and it's always a lot of fun for everybody. We got people walking, we got people running, we got people with time, all kinds of things like that. And so it's been very popular. The money with that is pretty much used to help us defray costs of maintenance and taking care of the trail. I mean, the city does a great job doing that also, but if we can add and help out a little bit, that's, we'd like to be able to do that. Let me give you a little handout. Put this together for
Thank
the
you.
paper, or Facebook, or whoever. Which talks a little bit about
Thank you.
what we're going to do here. As you can see,
Thank you.
this is our 12th time with the Trek or Treat. It's been an incredibly popular event. Pardon me for talking in my back. It's been an incredibly popular event. Last year, I'm not sure what happened, the perfect storm, but we had nearly 2,000 people come through there. Unbelievable. Probably twice as much as we've ever had before.
The other thing that happened was Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That might be
yes.
true, too. And I'm not
Yes.
sure we had 2,000 Buchanan people, but we didn't check IDs, so we don't really know, but that's
Right.
okay. We usually have about 25 to 30 characters in the woods, the front part of the woods, off of Shermer Parkway. And so that's a fun time. And we're going to make a couple of changes this year. We're not going to allow dogs this year on the trail. We had a couple issues last year, and sometimes
It's not a
people
place.
don't always take as good a care of their dogs as they need to.
Right.
And we thought for safety purposes, we've got little kids dressed up in costumes, and dogs get nervous and scared, and, so we're gonna eliminate that. The other thing that we really would like to work on, which I'm gonna let Jerry speak about, in parking was last year absolutely horrendous. You couldn't use Shermer Parkway, basically, and you got kids running in and out of cars and all this kind of stuff. So I think we've come up with a pretty good solution. I'm gonna let Jerry talk about that.
Yeah. Our concern is safety for the kids. And last year, we had people parking on both sides of Shermer Parkway. And if a little 3 to 5-year-old would have got excited and ran out, we would have had a horrible disaster. So, committee got together, 3 of us went down and talked to the Clark Lab, and we have gotten their approval this year to use their entire parking lot.
Oh, great.
So people will be able to park at the Clark Lab, they'll be able to park at Bosch, and we're solely gonna use that entrance behind Clark Lab. It's gonna be a little congested, but for the safety again of the kids, people are gonna have to go in that way, go all the way through the loop, they'll go all the way up to the parking lot, they'll make a loop and come back down and go down on what we call Lloyd's Loop, and then they'll come out the same way. So we're probably gonna need a couple officers down by the Bosch area, to stop traffic when kids cross.
I can add to that. I talked to Officer Gibbons last week, and he's gonna get us 4 reserve officers.
Good.
We'll have 1 on each end of the trail. The old parking area, we'll use that just for characters and workers to come in and park. And then we'll have 2 officers kind of roaming within that area there. They're gonna also put up no parking signs all along Shermer. And the idea would be too is that there'll be a police officer on that end, so if people come in and cause an issue or whatever, want to park and stuff, the police officer will be there to try to direct them back around the corner to the Clark parking lot. So we
Clark
think-
Lab was very good as far as listening to what our concerns were. There is a gate there that used to be, right now it's, I think you have to remove 6 bolts and that section of the gate comes out, so it's very easy to get out of there, and again, for the safety of the kids, we think it's the right thing to do. Some people are gonna be upset because they can't park where they've always parked, but,
Right.
change will happen, so.
Yes.
I'm a non-change kind of guy, I get it, but we'll get through it. Once we train people to do that, we'll be much better off in the long run.
Right.
Anything else you wanted to? Yeah.
Okay.
Just the last thing, probably the biggest question we get is, how does this happen and who pays for this and all that? All the candy that we give out comes from donations from the community, and the community's been just incredible over the years. I mean, just amazing. Now, last year we ran a little bit short on not knowing what we were gonna have kind of thing. So, we'll try to do better this year and generate some more donations of candy and so forth.
We also got a donation from the city, correct?
I think Julie said there's some candy that we, yeah, so that'll be obviously, glad to have that kind of thing. I think, other than telling you that this is the sweetest deal in town, all things intended, unless you have any questions, yes, Deb?
Since this is the first year with the no dogs and people are not used to it, how are you going to address that issue?
We're trying to get it on our Facebook and that kind of information. I'm gonna have Julie put it on the cities also. We realize that could be an issue. Again, that's why we got a police officer at the other end where we're gonna enter to try to help us with that.
We've always relied in the past on the Berrien County Record to get our word out and whatever about all this. Well, when they went down, being a bunch of old guys on a committee, we wondered how we were gonna get the word out. Well, a couple of the younger people put it on Facebook, and I think that's why our numbers went from 600 to 1,000. So the power of Facebook is
Yeah.
amazing.
So,
But
And
yeah, I mean, it's out on some of the information now, no dogs allowed. So.
I would
I'm sure
put it on
somebody's gonna show up
Facebook
with a dog.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're gonna be
I would put it on Facebook tomorrow
absolutely,
and put it out there almost every day, just kind of remind it.
right.
Because dogs, I love them. We all love them. But dog poo just don't go well with babies.
I mean, we even gave out dog biscuits, to the dog. I mean,
Right.
we're into that
You've
kind
been
of stuff.
welcoming, yes.
So,
Well, we appreciate the extra effort given the increase in the number of people. So, and we're more than happy to help you collect candy, and we're more than happy to help you get volunteers. So, whatever you need.
we're gonna need some extra volunteers this year, just
Okay.
by virtue of the way we're gonna be set up a little different.
Right.
So we can, as Jerry mentioned, cycle people, the
Okay.
way we wanna cycle them around
Right.
through there, so.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission?
I have one other one. I know because when we institute change, people don't get the word. Besides the 4 reserve officers, are we going to have maybe a couple more signs somewhere in the city to kind of say, hey, parking this way?
Yes, we've got some sandwich boards.
Good.
Good.
Trail's gonna put out.
You know, the first year, it's,
Yeah.
there's always anger because, oh, we didn't know about that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And we're trying to get that out, as with the dogs, we're trying to get out to the community also, that parking, which everybody should be, I think, excited about. Clark Lab, I think that will, you know.
No, that's good.
We're trying to get some other groups to give us 4 or 5 volunteers apiece to help with the pointing, go this way, because it's gonna be different. There's a new group in town called The Link. They're a 30 to 40-year-old group.
Like our age.
And 50, and 50, I'll tell you.
I got a text from them today that they're gonna provide 6 people. Jan, I think, was gonna talk to the Scarecrow ladies. They'll probably come up with a few people, so we will have plenty of volunteers pointing fingers to walk this way.
You're going to need them because, you know, I run lots over at Notre Dame parking and football. And they like to go their own way. And then I have to go up to them and say, no,
Yeah.
you're this way or the cops.
Maybe I'll throw in one more thing. When I talked to Officer Venus about the officer helping us and so forth, as I said, they're gonna put the parking signs. He's also gonna put up a barricade there on, is that Skyline Drive that comes down? And so the kids and people will not have to walk in the street, but there's enough grass there, area that they can walk right, you know, to the entrance. So it shouldn't interfere with traffic flow or cause any extra danger, anything like that.
In fact,
So-
we might wanna get some of those barricades that you used at the Commons, and we could put them right along that road. That way they couldn't jump. There's plenty of grass, but
We're gonna be
they're gonna
moving,
try it.
yeah, we already have plans to move the concrete barricades
Okay.
along
Okay,
that
that's
area
Awesome. Yeah.
to help separate from the traffic.
You know where that leads at, right?
Okay,
No chainsaw
Thank you.
characters.
Well, and that's, we try to tell people, you know,
Right.
this is a family thing, no chainsaws, no blood, none of that kind of stuff with the, you know, cartoon characters and those sorts of
Right.
things, so.
Are
They're
you
pretty
still
bloody.
looking for characters?
Always,
thank you.
I
we
know,
have them sign a release too for the city, so we try.
I know a
to
few
cover that.
characters in town.
I'm sorry?
Okay.
I know a few characters in town.
Are you really?
Is that a pun or is that a?
Are they the kind of characters that we would like to have?
Yeah,
Do
well,
they
I don't
happen to
know.
be in orange suits or anything?
I'll send them your way and you can vet them out.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for coming this evening. We appreciate it. All right. Up next, we're on item number 6, and we're on letter B. Have fun at Buchanan Parks. Brittany McBain. I don't see Brittany here this
Unfortunately, I
evening.
don't see Brittany here tonight.
Okay.
She must have forgotten that we had put her on the schedule because we just talked about it last week. So
Yeah.
Okay.
our apologies. Perhaps we can reschedule
Yeah,
her for
we'll
another
we'll
time.
reschedule Brittany because I'm sure she has lots of fun stuff to tell us about. All right, we're going to move on to item number 7, unfinished business, and we're on letter A. Consider resolution 2017.09, resolution number 4, confirmation of special assessment role for special assessment district for emergency medical services through Southwestern Michigan Community Ambulance Service District Number 1.
Mayor, Commissioners, again, this is our final step to establish the assessment district, which was previously established. And we're basically in a kind of a renewal situation where previously, for the last 8 years, we had a $20 assessment fee to benefit Smackus Ambulance, which we are one of the owners of that service for our residents. And this action tonight will establish that district for another 5 years. And there'll be a $20 assessment for parcel moving forward. Again, the monies that are generated by all the owners, municipal owners, go to capital purchasing by Smackus to buy ambulances, cots, telemetry, other incidentals that are needed to support the activity of Smackus and their efforts to service the community. Brian is here tonight. If you have any other questions about that, or if you want to make any statement, that would be up to Brian. But it really it's the legalese that had to go into the letter that went out was not very informative, and it caused a lot of concern and suspicion amongst the people, what is this all about? And unfortunately, that's the verbiage we have to put in that letter. You paid $20 the last 8 years, you'll pay $20 for the next 5 years to benefit an ambulance coming to your house when you call for help. So, and I will say it's an incredibly good service. You look around other areas, they're struggling for personnel. We are fully staffed, well-trained individuals. And again, we are a not-for-profit organization. We are owned. SMACUS is owned by the communities, servicing the people that are in those communities, and it's not for profit. So our focus is on service and care, which, you know, the letters of thank you for our units going out and helping people are a great number. So I'm very pleased with the response that we have.
All right, anybody have any questions?
I think
Okay.
it's- Nope.
All right, I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all right. Roll call, please.
Cole? Yes. Hess?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Bianski?
Yes.
Attorney?
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
How you doing with your memberships? You didn't think you were gonna get by with it, did you?
I didn't actually had a big stack for here tonight, but I had the city meeting.
And you forgot them.
No, they took them all.
Really? Good,
All right.
good. Thank you.
And Gladys, what number would that be?
Resolution 161.
Perfect, thank you. All right, we're on to new business. Item letter B, consider variance from the 2-week maximum display time to 3 1/2 weeks for the banner placement form, Chamber of Commerce, White Saturday, holiday
A?
lighting.
You missed one.
Did I miss one?
A.
Yeah, it's
Your
not a
Honor, it would
resolution.
be at number A.
You did unfinished and then you skipped the first.
What'd I do now?
A.
We just did this.
And
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, it looks so much, sorry about that.
Double A.
All right, so we're
And
on
glasses
item
you
number
should be
8, new
wearing.
business. We're gonna, that's why I wrote my number in my wrong spot. Sorry, everybody, my apologies. We're gonna consider resolution 2017-09, certified signature resolution for Michigan Department of Transportation Master Agreement.
Mayor, Commissioners, what this is, and you had a copy in your packet, the State of Michigan Department of Transportation notified us that our master signature agreement, the agreement they go to verify the signatures for all of our contracts surrounding our dial ride agreements with the State of Michigan had expired. We need to reestablish the signature document, and that's what this is. It's a kind of a housekeeping detail, a little formality that we have to do, and we have to do it by resolution. So I'm asking you to approve the master signature agreement with MDOT.
Any questions? Commissioner
How long
Dan?
does this last? How long is this on record for?
I think the last one was 5 years.
5
right?
years, I
Five-
think.
Like a 5-year
that-
renewal.
So that's why it gets forgotten.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else?
No.
Okay, I need a motion.
I'll make the motion that we go with a certified signature resolution for Michigan Department of Transportation Master Agreement.
I'll support it.
Go ahead, Pat, you got it.
Okay, Pat, thank you.
Support it.
All right. Roll call, please.
Bianski?
Yes.
Hess?
Yes?
Cole?
Yes.
Attorney?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Thank you, Gladys. And now we'll go on to Part B.
Is that
Consider.
162, Gladys?
Oh, 162, yes.
Yes.
Boy, I just want to keep on plowing, don't I? We're going to consider the variance from 2-week maximum display time to 3 1/2 weeks for the banner placement form, Chamber of Commerce, White Saturday / holiday lighting.
Mayor, Commissioners, we are aware that the tree lighting and White Saturday, or the effort to shop local, is something significant that we look forward to in our downtown commerce. The Chamber, DDA, and the city has an interest in publicizing that event the best we can. And they've asked that we look to allow the banner for White Saturday to remain up for 3 weeks rather than the standard 2 weeks. I think it's a reasonable request, especially for the effort that will go into this event. Again, last year, they had a tree lighting parade, which was very well attended. They have put a lot of work into making that parade a little bit larger this year. They've invested some good advertising in White Saturday. Again, we hope to have a lot of commerce occur downtown, and this would be a small, a little supporting effort by the commission and the city to allow the banner to be up for an additional week.
Okay, any questions? Yes, Commissioner Dan.
I don't agree with it at all, because then where do we stop? I mean, 2 weeks, you had a really good turnout last year for 2 weeks. We've only got so much banner space. If we give a variance here, who else are we going to say no to? Or what happens when we say no? And how are we going to say no? If we give a variance to these people, I just think that the 2 weeks prior to it is plenty of time. 3.5 weeks is what they're actually asking for. That's a full month. And my only problem with it is I don't really think it's going to help that much. I'm sure somebody does, otherwise they wouldn't be asking for it. But the fact that we have so many other people that put a lot of effort into the things that they do, what are we going to do when they ask for a variance? You know, who's going to tell them no?
The 5 board members
We
have
can.
that authority to say no.
Yep.
So,
We can say no
that's-
to whoever we want.
yeah, that's why we're here. And
You're missing my point. How do we decide to say no? And who do we decide to say no to? I mean, you know, we're always preaching equal, 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 equal. Don't bully, don't say no, even though it's the first word we learn. I'd rather say no across the board than have to pick and choose. How do I say no?
Okay. Anyone else? All right. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion that we approve the variance from 2 weeks maximum display time to 3.5 weeks for the banner placement form for the Chamber of Commerce White Saturday / holiday
I'll
lighting.
support it.
Okay, and I need a roll call, please.
Cole?
Yes.
Hess?
Yes?
Bianski?
Nope.
Turney?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Passed by majority, Your Honor.
Thank you, Gladys. Now we'll move on to item C, consider the crossing guard agreement with Buchanan Community Schools.
Your Honor, Commissioners, annually we approve a crossing guard agreement. We have 9 crossings within the city of Buchanan that we help manage and orchestrate crossing guards at to benefit children walking to school, all of our schools. And we have an agreement with the school in which they help in paying the bills for that service. We have a lot of walkers, we have a lot of crosswalks in town that need to be manned. And this agreement is basically a recognition of that effort. It's been longstanding in the community. We have good cooperation with the school. And we've been, very successful with our crossing guards, although we did have one crossing guard that was struck by a car up on North Redbud one time crossing a child. So that helps indicate that the service is needed. There really isn't any change from the agreement last year to this year. As you see, we are a little tardy with getting the agreement passed. We just got this back from the school board. And they had some transition this year with their superintendent, and so it's still very reasonable. So I'm asking you to consider approving the crossing guard agreement and allowing the mayor and the city clerk to sign the agreement.
Okay, any questions, comments?
Your
Dale?
Bill, I read through the the agreement, and there was nothing about the wages for the crossing guards. I know there was in there last year, and I can't remember. Was it 10 or 10.50 an hour for the crossing guards?
We normally give them a 25-cent an hour raise annually, and that's what will happen here. We turn around and just bill the school for.
Oh, that's just fine. No,
Yeah.
I just didn't see it in the agreement, you know, what their hourly wage would be. So that's just why I was curious. I mean, I didn't see it. Maybe I did read it twice. Maybe my eyes are getting bad, but
No?
No, it's not in there. You're right.
so do you know?
It's been kind of just left up to the city to
I just
manage that under.
I just
under
think
the-
and you know, they were out there in all kinds of weather, and they deserve a raise. And I just wanted to know what it is.
We don't have the same guards every year though either, do we?
Oh,
We
yes,
have different-
well, pretty much we do.
Well,
We do?
in general.
Yeah, we have a lot of retention on our crossing guards.
Okay.
And a personal comment, I work for the schools, and just so everyone knows, that is a really nice way that your tax dollars are being spent, in the mayor's humble opinion. Some of our little friends, that's the first grown-up they see once they leave the house, and those people are nice to the children in the morning, and they're the last school personnel, city personnel that the children see on the way home. And not only are they providing safety, they're providing a sense of welcome and have a great evening, enjoy the time with your family. I just think it's just one of those nice small town things that we have that's kind of a point of pride, and they do their job every day, and they're kind of unsung heroes. So thank you, everyone, for your support on that. And with that, I need a motion.
Well, before we
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Just because there's nothing in there about their salary. Do we need to have that in there?
Well,
Yeah.
it has always given us, under warranty by the city shall assume all responsibility for the hiring, supervision, and discipline of all crossing guards, and then also,
Because these people are out there in all types of weather,
this-
spring,
this-
summer, winter.
Yeah, on termination by the school, so they're just saying that they will pay the balance of salary for that fiscal year if we terminate.
If I was reading it, if I was in legal negotiations, to me, that sounds like last year's salary with no increase. If I was a union person or a management person, I would be bringing that up in negotiation. That's the only reason why I'm bringing it up. I
Well,
just
we
want to
can-
make sure that they are going to get their increase.
We can send this back to them with a wage line item there.
I just
but-
want to be covered because I think it's only fair to the people who are out there.
Okay. Do we want to make a motion to table?
Well,
or
I would,
Wait,
I would make a motion that we approve it with the addition of the reflective hourly rate somewhere in the document.
All right.
I would go along with that, Pat.
Okay. Do you want to make that motion then,
Yeah, I
Commissioner
just
Moore?
made it.
All righty,
And I'll-
great. And I'll take
I
a
will give-
second.
I just
I will
made
give
it.
Commissioner Moore support.
Okay, thank you. And can
Excellent.
we have a roll call, please?
Hess,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Bianski,
Yes.
Call,
Yes.
Attorney,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
I'd like to make one comment after the vote's already been done. It does say 1/2 of direct wage or payroll cost. So, I mean, to Dale's, it should have been put in here, but if they didn't have a contract in front of them, or if they did have a contract, we're the ones that give them the raise. The school doesn't give them
Yeah,
the
it
raise.
still should be
So,
in
I
there,
mean,
though.
well, yeah, but they don't know if we were gonna give them a raise.
They're going to ask questions. If I was the worker, I would ask questions.
Well, that doesn't work that way.
Oh, I know.
please, but
That's what I'm asking them
that's
over
the
at
only
Notre
comment
Dame.
I wanted to make on it.
All right. All right, moving on to new business, item D, consideration of a budget amendment to allow the city manager to seek media director services from Michigan Marketing Network in an amount not to exceed $7,200 for 6 months.
Mayor and Commissioners, we're not presently in a position to push this along. We haven't received a comment or opinion back from our attorney on the agreement, but I will say and I think you're all aware, because we've had a lot of conversations over the past year, that we need to do a better job with community outreach, getting information out through the multiple different medias that are out there. Again, we've heard a lot of positive stuff about Facebook. We have Channel 17. We're also out on YouTube now. So what we really would like to do is have an effort to enhance all of that, and working with Evan Powell, somebody that you've already kind of been introduced to. He's very energetic. He's volunteered a lot of time already to the city. He is part of the BARB. He's actually heading the North River Park committee, and he produces some pretty professionally looking material, and so I think there's a great opportunity for us to coordinate with him to get better exposed to the community using a multitude of different medias out there. That's, and again, really we can just have a discussion, but we're not in a position to approve any agreement tonight.
Okay. All right. And with that, we're to,
I would
go ahead.
like to
Yes,
just
go
make
right
a
ahead.
comment on that,
Yes.
if I may. Yes, I've worked closely with Evan, and I'm looking forward to working out some agreement with him, because we heard just how the trail just did great with Facebook, and we have so many other outlets that we need to utilize for the benefit and safety of the citizens. Like if there was a boil order, you know, we have to have it coordinated so that not only the people that have Facebook or some of these other venues, maybe they don't have Facebook, but they might have Comcast and then Channel 17, and work out emergency notices and other benefits that a comprehensive media person could help us blanket the city with important information like that. So I definitely think we have, not only for quality of life issues, but also the safety things.
And I think even the audience will know that Facebook is time consuming. Again, city staff is already busy on a multitude of projects, and Julie does a great job in keeping up with Facebook. I mean, our Facebook has like 5,000 friends. That's very impressive when you look at other communities. So we do get the word out, but in order to reach out, help manage 17, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, we're going to need some extra help, and not on a full-time basis, just a part-time situation to help us enhance the media outreach. Again, there is a little bit of a void in the fact that we no longer have our local paper, but you know, so that's created a little bit of a vacuum that I think we can try to fill to a degree. You know, I'm not necessarily looking to replace the paper, but there's enough activity just in the happenings at City Hall and how we can maybe support other happenings in town with this enhancement to media.
Did our news reporter quit on us?
No, he has been,
Oh,
right
so-
now, what he's been doing is calling me the following day for updates on activities, but he hasn't been able to attend these.
Who is it now?
Stan Maddox is still,
Still Stan?
Yeah.
But wasn't it a woman that introduced herself to us?
yeah, she's been over from the leader, and they come occasionally, but Stan's usually the assigned
Okay.
reporter to our meeting.
Mayor Hess,
Yes.
could I make a comment?
Yeah, go right ahead.
The gentleman that we're looking to make this agreement of, he worked for Notre Dame for a long period of time, and he was worked extensively with the fencing team. So when he retired, they did everything possibly to keep him there. So he's very well versed on media, and I think, and he's taken to liking Buchanan, and I think this would be a very optimistic time for us to have this gentleman assist us. So I'm just trying to give you a little background on what this gentleman did before he came here, and he's very happy to be here. So I think it would be a benefit.
He loves us.
He does. I talked to him for quite a long time, and they really at Notre Dame try to keep him there, but he wants to retire. So
Okay, Commissioner Dan?
Will we hear back from the attorney by the next meeting so we can?
Yeah, I hope, yes, I do believe so. It just said, by the time, with the activity last week and the time the agreement actually was put to the draft and got to the attorney, given to the attorney, I knew we were cutting it pretty close. So, again, Mondays are a challenge just to keep up with things for us even, and I'm sure it was for the attorney. But I hope to have that available by your October 9th meeting. And actually, I think he will be prepared to be here and provide a little demonstration of some of the work that he's been doing already for us, with us in mind, let me say that. And so I think you'll be rather impressed.
Okay, great. All right. And now we're on to public comments. Item 10, citizens are allowed up to 3 minutes to discuss any non-agenda item. Please come up to the microphone, state your name and your address, please. Go right ahead, sir.
Good evening, members of the council and members of the community. I'm David Mann, 149 Silverbrook Avenue, Niles, Michigan, 49120. I am running for state representative for the 78th District. Dave Pagel is term limited out this time, so I decided to step up. I previously served on the Niles City Council for 5 years, and so I have a very solid knowledge of what it takes to run a community and what the challenges you face every day. And I'm really looking forward to being your representative in the next session of the Michigan Legislature. I look forward to working with you to solve issues that are affecting this community and all of the communities of the 78th District. We've been privileged to have a very successful start of our campaign. We have 5 professional staff members this time around. One of them is Nestor Caceres, who is with us this evening. Several other volunteers have helped us out as well. I do want to emphasize throughout the campaign, and also when I hopefully am in office in 2019, I want to keep a very open line of communication with people in the community and people on the council. Whatever your concerns are, I'm here to hear it. I know your city administrator. We spent some time at the MML conference a few years ago and got to know each other. That was a great experience. I'm also very much, I've tried to, over the past few years, become very well versed in what's been going on with SMACUS and seeing how the state can look at reimbursing SMACUS more for the services that they do. That's an important issue that has been neglected. We need to improve our communities, though, and the state, as you guys know, has a big part to play in that. We saw a few years ago how the revamp of constitutional revenue sharing was not necessarily a well-designed plan, as the legislature did improvements over that over the past few years. And those are the issues that I look forward to addressing for you and for the people in the public who are going to be my constituents in 2019. I'd like to end by saying if you could visit my website, manforrep.com, manforrep.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming this evening. Okay.
Luann Gardner, 605 Reinerson, and I'm here on a real positive note tonight.
Oh, excellent. We like that. Thank you.
Media is my background professionally, and I have been so excited about how Buchanan is evolving and how slow my mind is getting with media and how fast the kids are getting with media. And just to plant a seed, I wonder if there's some way that this gentleman from Notre Dame, if he would be willing to work with possibly some of the kids that are coming. I mean, kids love media. They spend their lives with it. And perhaps they could be directed in a way that could feed us with information and ways to save time and communication and put paper behind us. Just a thought.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Don't all rush the microphone at once. All right, with that, we'll close public. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
more.
thank you. Sorry about that.
I seen her sneaking around back there quietly.
Yeah, wow.
So I'm Margot Green. I live at 215 Liberty Street.
Hi, Margot. Thank you for coming.
So my question is about the condition of our sidewalks in the city. I walk a lot, and unless I'm up on Front Street, which is pretty well kept, I walk in the street, which I think is against the law, but I will always do it because walking on our sidewalks is dangerous. I mean, you literally have to be looking at them because they go up, they go down. I know it's the citizens' fault because, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, they came and they marked a bunch of mine red, and I replaced them all, but it seems like that stopped. So, and the streets up in the Heights, I don't know, what was it, 10 years ago we did it? I don't know. It looked great, but nobody takes care of it. I mean, the little cleaner that runs around town cleaning up your little curbs
Right.
downtown, they, I think, once in the last 5 years have come to the Heights. So the grass grows up in the new asphalt and it splits it apart, and nobody cleans the gutters and they overflow. So I just kind of wonder what's happening with that.
Thank you. Okay, Bill, would you like to take her
Sure,
comments?
sure. Again, Commissioners, you approved a $10,000 line item to assist with replacement of sidewalks for this year. And we have just recently expelled that $10,000. So we have been working with homeowners to replace sidewalks. When they contact us, we work with them, and that money in our conversation and your goal was to offer some type of incentive for property owners who, by statute, are responsible for the sidewalk to help them out in making those necessary repairs. And the boundaries of that was that we were willing to spend 50% of just the material costs for concrete, not what it costs to have done or whatever, but we do help out in the material cost of replacing sidewalk sections. We have been, this last month, we have been replacing a lot of sidewalks. There's a new section of sidewalk up off of Ryan-Earson. There was a house up there that, not sure how it happened, but they just did not get that section of sidewalk done. That was part of a agreement we had with Matea Cord and working with the senior center that we want to establish the sidewalks up there. So that was recently poured. Again, you've been briefed that we want to do a crosswalk up there at the senior center to allow the neighborhood to get access to the senior center, a safe access to the senior center by crossing Ryan-Earson. So that was part of it. We just poured 130 feet of pretty deteriorated sidewalk on North Redbud Trail, just north of the River Street intersection. We had, and we've gotten letters out to some property owners on North Redbud about putting up, establishing their approaches. Right now, the dirt and gravel, every time it rains, the dirt and gravel get into the gutter pan and they flow into the storm drain up there and clog it. And then we have water problems up there. Some of the, not to make excuses, but we have 26 miles of roadway in the city. And most of our streets have 2 sidewalks. So you roughly even double that number. we're talking about a lot of sidewalks. And, yeah, we could do a lot better in going and finding these walks. And we do mark them, and we try to replace them when it comes to our attention. But we have limited resources when it comes to repairing all sidewalks that need to be. Actually, the state under statute indicates that a 3-inch lip is still acceptable to the state of Michigan. Yeah, and that's, yeah, I don't agree with it either, but that's within the statute. So we try not to allow that to occur. We do contact property owners, asking them to replace. We've given them the information about the willingness of the city to help them, at least with material. So what I would ask the public out there, if there are issues out there, we're willing to work with any resident to repair their sidewalks. So contact us. I mean, we know there's issues out there, but we'll need cooperation with each of the property owners to address them.
Your Honor.
Yes.
And also, a lot of that budget line item is determined through our budgeting process. So if people think that's a more important use of your monies than some other things, that's why you come and tell us that. You say like, hey, we want a big push on the sidewalks of town. You know, you tell us that, we will try to reflect that as best we can in the budgeting process. So $10,000 is a lot, but we're talking about 50% of the materials, which is a big help for someone who really, we could just tell the homeowner, you've got to fix it. And they would have to bear all of that burden by state law, so.
To add a little information there, this is the third year that $10,000 was offered. This is the first year that we've actually expended all that money. It was every individual that contacted us about a sidewalk last year and the year before, and the few that we did repair, only a few people took advantage of that money. So it's out there, and again, as Commissioner Moore noted, if we have residents who want to make repairs that are needed, the commissioners, I'm sure, are going to be very willing to work with residents. So again, budget talks come up in February for the July 1st new budget year. And so those are some of the things we need to know when we're trying to put what money we have into the spots we need them, so.
Mayor? Yeah, I have to agree with Commissioner Moore, because we do have our budget meeting in February. So if we know in advance what some of you want, then we can look at that when we go into our budget meetings. If we don't, then we have to make our own assumptions for what the following year is going to be. So if we know in advance, that will help us tremendously. Well, you know, when in doubt, you know, that's what the city's here. You call, you know, and if you don't call, well.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm Kathy Barnett. I live on the corner of Dewey and Oak Street.
Okay.
And we have a problem there with the alley, actually, that is off to the north of our property. And it's washed out and it's coming down and dirt is coming down into the drains and stuff. So
Okay.
this kind of falls under the.
Yes, if you would want to report that, come to this, right in there, come to the city front desk and just, you know,
Yep.
the more information you can give us, the better, like your contact information. Perfect. Okay.
Show somebody, but I was like, I didn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Called people to come down to the city and it's like, no,
I got another,
I just
Yes.
And I won't be here in February, I'm a snowbird, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. All right, Commissioner,
It's hiding. It's hiding.
okay,
There's an
right,
enormous amount of dirt that's coming
right.
off of this
Alleyway,
alley,
okay.
down in front of the house and ending up on the corner. There's school buses, kids, you know what I mean? Everybody uses that corner to kind of bypass the downtown area, so
Okay.
it's kind of really torn up the road.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll
great.
give you my card and, with
He
an
wrote down
email,
the
you can send me
address.
the
Commissioner
pictures and-
Attorney, go ahead.
This is sort of similar, but only it's not for sidewalks. This is for street over at West Front in Detroit. There's been a big hole there. It's been filled a couple times today. Now there's the yellow cones on there, and a lot of people are hitting. I was going to say that Commissioner's comments, but since they brought it up, I mean, you're looking for flat tires right away. That's got to be filled, and it's got to be blacktop.
Yeah.
I think you're aware of it, right, Bill?
Yeah, that, we're waiting for Affordable Asphalt to get some time to
I see.
go and dig that out and put
Yeah, it's.
asphalt in it. Yeah.
I mean, you got to swerve, otherwise you're looking for a flat tire there.
Actually, I believe that was repaired once already.
This property for years, but this is the first year that we're living in the top unit, and when it rains, it's like a river coming down the hill in both directions.
Okay.
So, you know, when you had that where you were checking out the drains and stuff, we thought, well, maybe they'll figure out that you're getting all this dirt wash, you know, washing into the drains.
Right.
And it's kind of still bad, so
Right.
I thought it should.
Good,
Great, thank you.
thanks.
That's good.
Okay.
My name is Ned Gardner, Buchanan, Michigan, 605. This morning, across the street from me, my neighbor was having about a 30-foot segment of his sidewalk replaced. They came up and poured concrete. It was fun to watch, talk to him, talk to the guys and that. And then one guy mentioned that the city was looking at a machine that will grind the concrete down.
Yep.
And I would push that because he sounded very positive on that. Also, I think the thought is out there that to replace a sidewalk, the owner has to pay for it, 100%. The city won't help.
Well, yeah, we, by statute, that is technically the way it is. And the commissioners has earmarked some money to help spur that type of activity. So again, we're pretty much exhausted that $10,000, but if we, you know, we still have a little bit of fall left, that we could do some of these repairs. So if there's interest by homeowners, and I'll even put it out, you know, to the public, since on Channel 17, we will come out and work with the homeowner to replace the sections that fall within the criteria that we need to replace, so.
How about where the trees are about ready to uproot and take out the sidewalk?
Yeah,
Will
well,
the
we-
city help with the trees?
Yeah, if they're in the right of way, again, this year we've cut probably 60-plus trees down in the city. We do have a newly formed tree board that is gaining some structure and interest on replanting the trees that we've been taking out. And we're doing 30 to 60 trees a year we're trying to cut down because they're dying faster than we can cut them down. So that's a challenge in itself. And then the sidewalks, again, are a challenge because we've had a lot of large, healthy trees that are dying off, and as they grow, they disrupt our sidewalks immensely, and that's troublesome. But we'd have to cut them down, grind the stumps, and then re-pour the sidewalk.
Is there any plans to put sidewalks up the west side of Rynearson?
No, that's, well, it's quite an undertaking right now, yes.
That's a long,
Yeah.
long run,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We would, you know, I'd have to say we'd have to create a special assessment district to fund that. So the property owners would have to pay for that to occur.
Don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
thank you.
That's kind of why we haven't done it. to tell you the truth.
We know that wouldn't be popular.
Yeah.
All right, anyone else for public comments?
Norma Ferris, 304 North Oak. I have two issues. First of all, sidewalks. I injured myself twice last year because property owners did not take care of their sidewalk in the snow. I walk in the street now. I'm safer in the street. Second, I attended goodness, we went around the landfill with the senior center. Had a good time. I learned things. There are 5 communities that are involved in that. One community is receiving benefit. How come I never hear anything?
Well, I'll let Bill answer that question.
Norma, I'm assuming the one community that is receiving really true benefit is Bertrand Township, who gets tipping fees off of the landfill. The landfill is located within their jurisdiction. They're eligible for tipping fees, so they receive, I'm not sure exactly what the number is.
I don't remember what the number is either, Bill. But yeah, they do get a tipping fee because
For
we
every
are
ton
in
that
their
goes in there,
township.
they receive a certain portion of that, the cost of that tonnage. And so, but the landfill also, if you're looking at community interest, the landfill also provides all the community owners with scholarship programs, and they're supportive of events within the community, all the communities. So they do provide some assistance with dumpsters for special events. They're also, they give cash donations to some events. That's within their authority to do. So is that what?
That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I spoke with a city employee. We are taking liquid from them, putting it in our wastewater plant that is already deteriorating. Are we getting anything? Is it going to Niles? Is it going to Bertrand? Or are we taking it all on and
The
dumping our plant?
city of Buchanan receives leachate from the landfill. The leachate is water that, basically rainwater that falls onto the grounds and is captured by the rubberized cells that are being, constructed out there. So that rainwater has to, by their permit, has to be treated and then sent to a facility. Right now, we have a 3-inch force main that takes the leachate after it goes through their treatment program, okay, and then comes to the city of Buchanan. We take that leachate, we further treat it, and then it's released. So the city of Buchanan is under a pretty strict permit by Michigan Environmental Quality. We have to stay within those limits, and even with the leachate that comes to us, we're well within our limits at the wastewater treatment plant. The plant runs at almost a third of its normal capacity, unless we have a rainstorm, and then, we go from treating 400,000 gallons of water a day to, we could go up to 1.2 million if we have a rainstorm, just because of the amount of water that jumps over into the sewer system rather than the storm system. So the landfill sends us probably about 25,000 gallons of leachate a day that we treat. Amongst that, 400,000 to 600,000 gallons of normal wastewater that we treat.
I would appreciate hearing that. I get the impression that all our wastewater treatment plant handles is Buchanan when it's handling other.
Yeah, we handle Buchanan City and Buchanan Township, and a portion of Niles Township. So.
I just hear about the repair that is needed there, not that we are taking in other people's.
But those other people do pay. They're charged a higher rate than city people are as well.
Please talk to us. We need,
you sit here in all these meetings, you hear all the information that is presented. You even worked here for a while.
Channel 17.
Yep, and we're working on that too.
Yeah, you've worked here for a while, and you're in here quite a bit. I know you discuss a lot of things with Gladys, almost daily, and you know where my office is, down the hall. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you,
very good.
Norma. Anybody else for public comments? All right, and with that, we will go on to the city manager's comments. Bill?
Thank you, Mayor. Again, we, in addition to actually a couple of items that were in your briefing, some of you have been contacted about some issues on Shermer Parkway regarding a speed limit sign. That speed limit on Shermer Parkway, according to the minutes and traffic control orders that we have, is 35 miles an hour. That's from River Street to Front Street. Erroneously, there was an employee that put up a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign back about almost maybe 6, 8, 10 years ago, and it never was really caught until recently. A complaint came in about speeders on Shermer. We checked the control order, traffic control order for that speed, that street, and it is 35 miles an hour. Those signs are posted. We've increased enforcement on that street. We've written several tickets. What I get back from Tim Gaines is that traffic is traveling much slower on that street. Presently, you have the Sheriff's Department speed trailer on the street, which is almost midway monitoring northbound traffic and helping further control the speeds along that area. There was talk about having a traffic study. Again, the material that is available in the Michigan Vehicle Code kind of gives some insight that if you have so many entrances to a street by residential driveways, by other streets, they kind of give a category of what speed limits should be. If we follow the state statute for the number of openings for that street, the speed limit should be 45 miles an hour. I don't want to do that. And if we spend the money for a traffic study and we don't listen to what comes out of it, then we find ourselves in an awkward position. 35 is a very comfortable speed for that. That is a bypass road from River to Front Street. I hate to say it, but just the roughness of the street alone limits your speed. But we will continue enforcement on that, in that area, continuing. And I also, again, I think I have made mention that we are looking at purchasing 2 electronic monitoring speed limit signs that we can permanently attach to a street on a post. They are mobile enough that if we have issues, we can pull those off and move them to another issue within the city. And that's something you'll see possibly at your next commission meeting. I'll be asking for consideration for that. It's one sign is $3,340. Pretty salty, but it also provides us with a data record of the speed limits in that 24-hour period. So it would help us identify times that enforcement would be best suited to be out there. So you'll get some more detail in your briefing on that, and possibly looking at a request at the next meeting for possibly purchasing 2 of those signs. Also in your briefing, you were told about the illegal dumping that occurred at the south end of Days Avenue. There was recently a significant number, at least 3, maybe 4 pickup loads of material that was dumped along the railroad tracks up near the feed mill. I'm happy to say we caught the culprit that did it. And so he's being processed through the court system at this time, and we're working with him to remove the material from where he so dumped it. It was one of those where he was paid to go take it to the landfill and decided he could make more money by dumping it on the grounds and then paying the landfill fees. So we're happy with that. I will touch on the fact that some people who have seen the news article and some of this Facebook stuff, there was a small dog found up at Meadows that was in dire straits. I'm happy to say that through a lot of support by many people, including the police department and the animal control, the dog has been gotten to a vet, has made a very good recovery, and is now home with the person who found the dog up at the Meadows that was in that terrible state. It's unfortunate. There is a criminal investigation involved in that, and we continue to do interviews regarding that. Again, I'm pleased with the effort and progress we've made on the Ross Sanders building. Again, we've had for several years wanted to do what we can to restore the building, and this year I was worried we weren't going to be able to get to this project because of the extended time we spent on the mill and some other distractions that we've had, but we've been able to really move that project along. And what we had to do is scrape off all the paint, or a majority of the paint that was loose from the block walls, and we had to grind out the loose mortar in between those bricks and apply a limestone-based mortar that was most similar to the mortar used when the place was originally built. Again, we worked along with the Preservation Society in this. Actually, they've helped us a little bit in keeping the mortar moist as required, and we hope to get some painting done before the weather gets too bad here. And again, we took advantage of the fact that the sheriff has a work crew, trustees out of the jail, and so we were able to take advantage of their efforts, and applying some of our personnel working with them, we were able to get a month worth of work done in just a couple of weeks, actually just over a week. So I'm very pleased about that. And drive by, take a look at their efforts. We are somewhat tardy in reviewing our master plan. Every 5 years, we're to review our master plan. I hope once the Planning Commission's amendment to the ordinance regarding medical marijuana is put to rest, we'll be able to move our attention on to starting the process of that 5-year plan review. As you know, I've asked you to consider, and from a request from the Planning Commission, that we locate assistance in the process of doing that plan, because it's lengthy. Yeah, we need a group to help orchestrate the community outreach, formulate the meetings for the public to get their input, and that's something you'll also see in the future to consider. Again, right now we have a quote from Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. They did our last plan. But I'm also looking at, I just heard of a grant that might be available to assist us, and I'm pursuing that as well, so. That's what I have so far.
Okay, thank you. All right, time for commissioners' comments. We'll start down here with Commissioner Turney.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. As I was thinking about the trails, new things, for the parking, do you guys have some yellow jackets for parkers, or does the city, because that kind of helps notify people of where, to follow the parkers? I think that's what I do at Notre Dame. We all wore those yellow jackets, and that seems to help with people recognizing who are the directors. What color are they? Yeah. What color are the shirts? The brighter the better. I'm sort of thinking about that. Yeah, because that just seems to, because what I do is I just say, see that guy down there with the jacket, that's where you go next. So you just kind of point, and that's how you do that. Just a thought, Okay. I know Bill doesn't like to hear this, but I just want to congratulate Bill's son on being promoted in the Navy, because in this day and age, based on who you are, I can only imagine what he is. So, I mean, he comes.
How do I take that?
How do you take that? I think he's got a great father, and being a chief petty officer, that's a very important duty. That's the highest you can in an enlisted man, and next to an ensign or whatever. That is just outstanding. Leadership is. Probably should have rephrased it. He knows where leadership comes from. And I also would like to thank the mayor on her speech at the 9/11. I thought Mayor Hess, that was an outstanding speech you made. That was very nice. I just wanted to compliment you on that, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Carla?
Okay, I just want to thank everyone who worked with the Legion, Edgewater Bank, Country Heritage, Pam with the Police Department. I hope I didn't leave anybody that did the taco thing in order to help our people here. I thought that was pretty nice, even though it was $200 and some. That little bit will help. And it was just too bad that we were freezing that night, and they ran out and didn't have a lot of customers. So it is appreciative of what they had done. It was a great idea. Halloween. Please donate some candy. The kids love the candy. I know my kids did when they're little. I mean, it was a big thing coming home with that big sack of candy, and I'm going, and I feel sorry for the teachers the next day if they're around. They're on a sugar high. I do want to remind you to watch out for the kids, because they do get excited. They dart out there in that darn street, and, they're all excited about their new costume and the candy and just the excitement of being out there and trick-or-treating. And I guess that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan?
Well, I want to make sure I say a thank you. I almost forgot, but since they mentioned the 9/11, Ashley, and I don't remember her last name, and I specifically called the school the next day to get her name. she played taps, and she didn't miss one note. Now, I've heard taps a lot of times, and for her to do that, that was absolutely excellent. And I called her music teacher, I told her music teacher, so, and I said, I want to make a mention of that because she was very good at what she did. And I don't do that. I'm the curmudgeon up here. Dewey and Oak, I will look at that. Margot, did she leave?
Yep, she left.
We've been very aggressive on the sidewalks, and it's people complaining nonstop about the sidewalks. We've been looking at a saw, or talking about a saw since I've been in office, 3 years. We haven't really talked about being nasty, but you have to understand that a lot of the real estate's sold hands probably multiple times in the last 10 years. So you have an exchange of ownership, and they don't know the rules and regulations. But if you call and you let Bill know, they can serve if it's extremely bad. And I think there's actually a way of putting it on their tax assessment, isn't it? Isn't there? I mean, we've never gone to that point, but can't that be assessed?
Yeah, it'd fall under a special assessment. And
So, I mean, you know,
there's a lot of work to.
but yeah,
Yeah.
the taxpayer is responsible for it, and I'm sure something could be worked out if something had to be worked out as far as the sidewalks. As far as the tree lawn is the lawn between your sidewalk and the curb. That is technically your responsibility, but don't do nothing to it without asking permission. If you got a dead tree on it, you could talk to, it used to be the gentleman at the cemetery. He's no longer here, so it would be Bill that you'd have to talk to. And I was lucky enough to have a tree trimmer that told me that he wouldn't even cut a branch off the tree in the tree lawn. So you can't do anything to them, any vegetation in the tree lawn, but you have to ask permission. Most of the time, they're quite capable. And a lot of times, if the tree's a problem, the city, unless it's along, and I've done a lot of research on this, if there's hot wires, if you're on the side where the wires are, usually that's I&M. On the other side where there are no wires, that's city. So the more you point it out, you come down here and say it's a real hazard. If you got an infestation of ants or it's really an issue, it'll come down. The guys are really good. I've been down there. I'm on vacation this week, so I'm around the city quite a bit this week. But they are good, but it's people that got to let them know. We've got to let them know. That's how it gets done. Thank you, Legion. Call us. Jackie likes to make tacos. I like to eat tacos. It was too cold Friday night, though. I don't wander out in that stuff. Other than that, I just want to know, our new school superintendent hasn't come down. Is there any way we can invite him?
Yeah.
And I did contact the Moose and asked them prior to a meeting that they had to come down here and let us know. And I didn't say it was mandatory. She wanted to know, is it mandatory? I said, no, it's not. How can it be mandatory? I would like for you to come down here. I asked them to come down here and clarify because there was rumor that they got a bunch of money with Mr. Shermer passed. They didn't. And he rescinded that rumor on the, or hearsay that I've got. He rescinded that because the Moose was in the process of closing down. They were supposed to get it, but they were closing down their facility, which they were going to do, and that was prior to Mr. Shermer passing, and he rescinded that. So they did not get any money. That's all I got to say.
All right, Commissioner Moore?
Well, this actually is our first meeting for this month because of the 9/11 memorial service. So I don't want to be neglectful, and I do want people to know how much everyone appreciates the Scarecrow Charities and their efforts in town. I see people, and mostly kids and their parents, if they're not looking for rocks, they're getting their pictures taken with trolls and other creatures and jumping horses and everything we can imagine. So I just want to say kudos to them again for a wonderful year. They're so creative, and it's a lot of hard work. So I don't want people to forget how much effort they've put into it. And the sponsorships of all of those scarecrows generates revenue that that group doesn't spend on themselves. They could probably go to a cruise if they wanted to with all that money. But no, they turn around and offer grants for other organizations in town. So that money just gets turned back and churning over and over again through the community. So it's really a wonderful thing to support, and I just recommend everyone get a scarecrow, sponsor a scarecrow, or be a scarecrow, whatever. Okay. And then I do have another issue, or like a question. As we are nearing our December 15th date, as far as the state allowing the medical marijuana licensing, as we all know, Laura has been working on refining some of the rules. Now, my understanding is that instead of individual silos of having a retailer cannot be a tester, cannot be a processor, cannot be a grower, they are now considering changing all that, and that an entity can be all of those things. Because people are looking, or they're getting push from the people looking to invest in all that. So that's what I heard. I don't know if there is my question is there going to be some kind of communication or some way we can actually hear it directly or get that information directly from Laura so we can find out if we need to change our ordinance, which remember I was like guaranteed that we could make changes if we needed to. So very easily, I was told. So I'm just saying, I want to be kept informed about those kind of changes at the state level so that we can really make sure our work is not going to be totally in error by the time December 15th happens. And our time is getting short. So if they're making big changes, that needs to be reflected in our ordinances, and the public needs to be aware.
Can I comment on that?
Why don't we just wait until the next meeting if you don't mind? Okay.
Okay, that's all my comments, thank you.
Okay, great. And for my comments tonight, the week before last, I was in Holland at the Michigan Municipal League conference where they spoke a lot about letting your citizens know what's going on. So tonight you heard us talk about a man named Evan from Notre Dame, formerly from Notre Dame, who's going to try to help us to that end. And he's got some really great ideas for Channel 17, and he's got really great ideas for YouTube. And some of the things that you brought up tonight that you don't know about, those are some of the very first things we're planning on doing, little shows, for lack of a better way to put it, where I'll be able to talk about different things, or any of the commissioners can. And hopefully, not only will we kind of, turn Channel 17 into more of a viewer-friendly information, but it'll also be a little bit maybe entertaining too. Another thing at Michigan Municipal League was the fact that your state is really doing you as a citizen a disservice. You need to find out who your representatives are, which if you don't already know, and write them letters and talk to them about how they plan to fix the broken funding system in the state of Michigan. They were all hot this spring and said, oh, we're going to increase revenue sharing, and it ended up being like, and I didn't write it down, it's like $1.85 per person in Buchanan. All right, think about what, 4,400 residents, and we got $1.85 for each of those people. That's hardly enough money to do anything. So please, they have their own goals, and they're driven by big money from other places, and sometimes I think they forget who they represent. So please, if you could do one thing this week, put it in your calendar to write your representative or call or email. It's so much easier today to get a hold of them, and they usually respond, but we need to get together as a community and a group and start putting pressure on them so that we get money back that we pay in taxes to do the things that you want to do. We would like new streetlights, and we would like new sidewalks too, don't we? And we don't like potholes, but when you have a limited budget and we have to make hard decisions, you can help us a lot by just writing a letter, and that goes to all the people out there watching this on Channel 17 and YouTube, if all of us did this on kind of a regular basis, things will start to change. But it has to start with a few people, and we need to grow our efforts. So thank you for letting me preach a little bit about that this evening. And I want to thank everyone for coming. For a long time, we had pretty poor attendance here. And it doesn't make you feel good to know that you're representing people that sometimes don't come. Norma comes all the time, so if you want to know about good attendance at meetings, talk to her. But thank you all for coming. We're so glad to see you, so you know what's going on, and you can ask questions, and we feel better about things too, because then we know what people want. So bring your neighbors, bring your friends, come on down. And with that, I'm done for this evening. I need a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very